So listen up, viewers. What we are going to talk about right here is very important, and it is going to enlighten you on some of the things which are happening in Zimbabwean politics. So I have attached an affidavit which is right there on the screen, and I just covered important details of individuals, that is the phone number and the address. So that is what is very important. Okay, look at this. We saw a prophecy coming. This is Hubert Angel. He's talking about cancels, arrests. He's talking about dates. He's talking about a lot of things. And then, just a few days later, we are being told Harare Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and Shadrach Mashayamombe, they've been arrested. And then Zach comes out and Zach says, we didn't arrest Harare Mayor. We simply questioned him, but we arrested the Deputy Mayor and Mashayamombe. Okay. Then soon after that, we have seen letters now surfacing about Daniel Garwe. And these letters are coming and saying Daniel Garwe is complicit in the corruption. And there is an issue of 70 million investment there. There is an issue of properties which includes and involves Logara. So we're asking questions. What is really happening? What is all this which is flying around? And then Daniel Garwe comes and he gives this presser. So look at this presser. Listen very, very carefully to Daniel Garwe, because what we are going to discuss after is going to enlighten you further.
Minister is the biggest land baron in the land. I have no business in taking land that is not mine. I have enough land of my own. Why should I do that? When we further investigated, we discovered that the companies were owned by senior council employees, from the mayor, the deputy mayor, and then Shadrach Mashayamombe. I can mention Shadrach Mashayamombe because he's a land baron, and another person. So the mayor sat here with his team and reported counsel to the courts and did not disclose to the acting chamber secretary to go and defend the position of the council. And the default judgment was granted. Basically, the mayor was suing himself. The mayor and his team were suing themselves because they are the local authority and they own these companies that is standard. We're now flashing and say they are the legitimate companies. They are not legitimate companies. 4 companies were created. One is owned by one person. I can share the names bilaterally, I do not share them now here. The 4th, they then even invited a friend and say you can have the other stand. So there were 4 stands. They created some leases. But as you are aware, in terms of the Urban Councils Act, you don't just acquire council land without seeking audience with the neighborhood. The neighborhood resisted that. And we are told, we don't have facts now, we are told that the negotiations were done between one of the neighbors who was very vocal, the neighborhood, and then the council then was allowed to do the development. Disappointingly, the mayor did not disclose the ownership of the companies that were being told that the council had created a lease with them. We then say, why don't you go ahead and negotiate, or let those companies negotiate directly with Logara so that they can go and view the pieces of land that are being offered as a swap. After that, we'll then find a way of starting this development, because it's now stopping development. We want to move in line with National Development Strategy 2 and in line with Vision 2030. We have no time to be just sitting and talking. We agreed on that. The next stage, we received the mayor advised that the companies had gone to court and the council had lost the matter before the court, a default judgment was passed. When we further investigated, we discovered that the companies were owned by senior council employees, from the mayor, deputy mayor, and then Shadrach Mashamu. I can mention Shadrach Mashamu because he's a land baron, and then another person. So the mayor sat here with his team and reported council to the courts and did not disclose to the acting chamber secretary to go and defend the position of the council. And the default judgment was granted. Basically, the mayor was suing himself. The mayor and his team were suing themselves because they are the local authority and they own these companies that is standard. We're now flashing and say they are the legitimate companies. They are not legitimate companies. When we discovered that and we called the mayor and his team here, I said, I reserve the right as the Minister of Local Government and Public Works to call upon Section 313 and 314 of the Urban Councils Act, which says Minister may reverse, suspend, rescind resolutions or decisions of councils where the Minister is of the view that any resolution or decision or any action of a council is not in the interest of the inhabitants of the council and area concerned or is not in the national or public interest. So we told them we want this development to proceed. They went back, met as full council, and passed the resolution that the swap arrangement must be adhered to. And this is where we were until one of them, I think they were not understand. I don't know what was happening within themselves. One of them went and reported the matter to Zaki. And we are all aware what happened to Zaki.
So here is where I want you to understand. When you're looking onto the screen, this is a screenshot from Zak. This matter was reported to Zak. And from the affidavit which I showed you first, the affidavit, the withdrawal affidavit, it mentions Mayor Mafume, the deputy mayor, as well as Mashaya Mombe. Those are the three people mentioned in the affidavit, that the charges were being withdrawn on the three people. What it means is Zaki was supposed to arrest both Mafume, deputy mayor, as well as Mashaya Mombe. But something happened and they released Mafume. Later in the day, they released Mafume. So you are asking questions to say who triggered the release of Mafume, who engineered the release of Mafume, who made the calls to have Mafume released. So this is a factional battle, as we've been saying. These people, they will do anything and everything to outmaneuver each other and outshine each other. This was manufactured. What we do not know is who engineered it. Was it from the likely forces or it was from the other side? But the prophet used the intelligence in the cycles to say so and so want to be arrested. So this makes the whole thing interesting. So what we need to understand is how did Mafume get released? Why is it that Mafume is appearing on the withdrawal affidavit but does not appear on Zak reporting? So the media didn't report from nowhere. They reported about what was really happening, but someone pulled the strings. So this is a true reflection of factional battles and factional fights. And remember, Garwe is believed to be faction Rana Mama, and Mafume is believed to be the faction Remwana Nana Tagwi. So a lot is making sense right here. You can see these are factional battles at play because the minister is bearing Mafume who must be arrested from the other side. So it's becoming more interesting.